My name is Du, and today I would like to make a presentation about a research proposal. So, uh, let's get started with the warm-up activity. We have a saying, the pen is mightier than the sword. So why it is the case? It's like to emphasize more on the importance of the words, and we need to come up with new strategy how to boost our vocabulary. So that's actually also the topic of my research, the use of paper flashcards in teaching general academic vocabulary for adult learners. So this is the outline of my presentations. We have introductions and literature review. We have some research questions and descriptions of the innovations and research setting. Methodology and methods. We talk about the data collections and data analysis and ethical issues. Finally, potential problems and some solutions. So, why vocabulary is so important, especially academic vocabulary? Because, first of all, it sounds difficult, it's abstract, more technical, and the meaning is condensed. So, but actually, it's so important because vocabulary, academic vocabulary, is associated with the higher status occupations. For example, lawyer, professor in university, they need to be fluent in using academic words. However, the existing problem is that students in Vietnam nowadays find it very difficult to attain academic vocabulary, and the use of flashcards can be proven to be really effective. And it's also easy, fun, so that's why it can be adopted widely in many nations in the world. So my research includes two research questions. First of all, I would like to investigate how students respond to the use of flashcards in learning general academic vocabulary. And secondly, the difficulties they may encounter during the program. So my research is based on some theories. First of all, students can easily practice extensively with flashcards. It means that they have flashcards. Not only do they study and practice in the classroom, however, they can bring back the flashcards. They can make and practice outside of the classroom. Okay? And secondly, using flashcards can help students avoid list effect. So normally we have a list of vocabulary, and some of the words are easier to remember because of the order of the words. And using flashcards, we have no order. So that's why we can avoid the list effect. And thirdly, flashcards are effective in teaching students to develop their vocabulary and completion the drills. So, my research is based on a worldview which is social constructivism, because I strongly believe that through the interactions, activity related to flashcards in the classroom, students actually can construct their own knowledge. In other words, knowledge is socially constructed. And besides, meaningful learning occurs when individuals are engaged in social activities. So we have activities in classroom and outside of the classroom, which is really helpful for students. So the rationales of the research consists of three factors. First of all, most recent studies just only focus on the progress of students in using flashcards in learning vocabulary, and very few of them study about the academic vocabulary, and last but not least, only several studies has been conducted in Vietnam. some benefit of the innovations. First of all, it can address the vocabulary learning issues such as meanings, spellings, and it can help students with pronunciations and also how to use the word in appropriate context. Besides, because it is self-made flashcards, so students can decide which word is worth learning and exclude the word that they already know. Lastly, if the innovation is successful, it can be widely adopted in other educational settings. So the context of the innovation is Justina English Centers, and this is the classroom, the class that I am responsible for. The participants include 10 of them, 6 females, 4 males. They age from 19 to 21. Then they are all Vietnamese, and their background is university students. So in this research, the action research should be adopted due to the fact that action research can help students improve their engagement in vocabulary learning through flashcards. And I am the teachers and I can act as the researchers. It means that I can monitor the progress, the engagement of students in my own classroom. Besides, the qualitative approach will be adopted here because it is a small-scale research, just only 10 participants. And besides, qualitative provide a greater flexibility, and the researcher can describe clearly the student attitudes, responses, and their difficulties they may encounter in the program. Next, the data collection method here is classroom observation and interview, because things in the classroom can be observed. However, to supplement the data that can be observed, that can be collected through observation process, we need to use interview so that students can reflect their attitudes and whether they really interested in the method or not. The procedures, the program will last for 8 weeks. So first of all, students can provide the instructions, and the researcher can monitor the in-class activity of the students and take note. So after the study, the teacher researchers can conduct an interview to investigate on the attitudes and the reflections on the experience of using flashcards of students. So, for data analysis, first of all, observation guide can be used. So I can use the observation guide from the source, Corwin Press 2006. For interview, we can use audio recording, then I will transcribe, code them manually, because the number of participants actually very small, just only 10 of them. Then we can interpret the findings. Then some ethical issues can be taken into consideration. First of all, we can ask for the permissions of the head of the centers. Then a consent form will be sent to all students. So students can be clearly informed what they're gonna expect during the process. All the student names can be coded to ensure the confidentiality. Finally, students have a right to decide whether their answers can be recorded in the interview. Some potential problems of the program could be that, first of all, students may forget to design the flashcards, or they are too busy to have time to design them, or sometimes they can receive the hurtful comments from their partners, the strangers. So, To cope with the difficulties, we have to come up with some solutions like time management, and the researchers should warn them about the potential harmful effect when they take the pictures of their own flashcard and publish on social media. So in conclusions, I believe that this study can engage students in learning vocabulary, and besides, it can be widely applied in other educational settings if it is successful. So these are the references for my presentations, and this is the end. Thanks for listening.